Good morning, everyone. This is the news with b.c.begley. I am your host, and it's Wednesday, December the 10th, 2025, and let's jump right into the top news stories for today. The House Armed Services Chair, Mike Rogers, said he sees no need for further investigation into a disputed military strike back in September, saying he already has the answers that he needs. Democrats, however, are still calling for a full-scale probe, including hearings and document reviews. Top lawmakers recently viewed classified footage of the strike with military leaders, and the full committee is set to see the unedited video soon. It remains unclear whether the footage will be released publicly, Politico has reported. Congress is also pressuring the Pentagon by tying part of the Defense Secretary's office budget to turning over complete videos of similar strikes. The Trump administration announced it will end the Biden-era Save Student Loan Repayment Plan as part of a legal settlement, affecting millions of borrowers. The plan, launched in 2023, reduced monthly payments for low-income borrowers and prevented interest from growing, but had faced lawsuits from GOP-led states claiming it was unlawful. Under the settlement, no new borrowers will be admitted, current applications will be denied, and existing participants will be moved into other repayment plans. Critics warn that ending SAVE will increase financial strain and confusion for borrowers who already face rising loan balances and economic uncertainty, CNN has reported. The decision comes amid broader changes to student loan rules, including new caps on borrowing and fewer repayment options introduced during President Trump's second term. A GOP-led Pennsylvania legislative committee has issued subpoenas seeking records on roughly $1 million in security upgrades to Governor Josh Shapiro's private home, as well as information on charter flights taken earlier this year. The move follows an April arson attack on the governor's official residence, which prompted police and security experts to recommend increased protections. Shapiro's office called the investigation a partisan attack, saying it has already shared substantial information without compromising safety measures. Republicans argue that taxpayer-funded security spending must be transparent, while Democrats label the probe a political fishing expedition, ABC News has reported. The subpoenas require state police, local officials, and a charter flight company to produce documents by January the 16th. The United States flew two F/A-18 fighter jets over the Gulf of Venezuela on Tuesday, marking the closest known approach of U.S. aircraft to Venezuelan airspace. A U.S. defense official called it a routine training flight and emphasized that the jets stayed in international airspace. This mission comes after months of increased U.S. military activity following strikes on suspected drug smuggling vessels. Earlier flights involving B-52 and B-1 bombers had not flown as close to Venezuelan territory, Fox News has reported. The heightened presence follows rising tensions, including U.S. warnings to airlines about the region and concerns over Venezuelans' air and naval defenses. A shooting at Kentucky State University in Frankfort left one student dead and another critically injured. The suspect, who is not a student, is in custody after being apprehended by campus police before other authorities arrived. The incident occurred in a residence hall, and officials say it appears to be an isolated incident rather than a mass shooting. The university has canceled classes, exams, and campus activities for the rest of the week, offering support and counseling to students, faculty, and the staff, BBC has reported. Authorities, including local, state, and federal agencies, are investigating the tragedy. A federal judge in New York has ordered the unsealing of grand jury materials and other documents from Ghislaine Maxwell's 2021 trial, in which she was convicted of procuring underage girls for Jeffrey Epstein. The Department of Justice requested the disclosure under the recently passed Epstein Files Transparency Act, which mandates public releases of investigative materials about Epstein. Judge Paul Engelmeyer allowed the release but emphasized protections for victims' privacy and criticized the DOJ for failing to notify victims before seeking unsealing. While the materials include grand jury transcripts and exhibits from Maxwell's trial, the judge noted that they are unlikely to reveal any new information about Epstein or Maxwell's crimes, CNBC has reported. Lawmakers and transparency advocates have hailed the decision as a step toward public access to Epstein-related records, though the timing of the DOJ's release remains unclear. South Korea and Japan scrambled fighter jets after Russian and Chinese military aircraft conducted a joint air patrol near both the countries. 7 Russian and 2 Chinese planes, including bombers and fighters, entered South Korea's Air Defense Identification Zone on Tuesday, prompting Seoul to deploy jets as a precaution. Japan also deployed aircraft after Russian Tu-95 bombers and Chinese J-16 fighter jets flew near Okinawa, with Japan calling the flights a serious national security concern. The exercises were part of the 10th Joint Strategic Air Patrol by Russia and China, conducted over the East China Sea and the Western Pacific Ocean, Al Jazeera has reported. These incidents reflect ongoing military cooperation between Moscow and Beijing, which regularly conduct unannounced flights near South Korean and Japanese airspace. Rights groups, including the ACLU, the NYCLU, and the Center for Constitutional Rights, have filed a lawsuit seeking the release of an internal Office of Legal Counsel opinion that allegedly justifies the Trump administration's strikes on alleged drug trafficking vessels off Latin America. The lawsuit argues that the public deserves to understand the legal rationale behind military actions that have killed at least 86 people since September. The groups claim that the administration is treating drug traffickers as unlawful combatants. The FOIA-based lawsuit follows government refusals to release the OLC memo and aims to expose the reasoning behind these lethal operations, Al Jazeera has reported. Critics also question the strike's effectiveness in reducing drug trafficking, and note that the broader context of increased U.S. military activity in the region amid tensions with Venezuela. Senate Republicans, led by Majority Leader John Thune, plan to offer a GOP health care bill for a vote alongside Democrats' proposal to extend Enhanced Affordable Care Act tax credits later this week. The Republican bill, the Health Care Freedom for Patients Act, would redirect funds to health savings accounts for bronze plan users rather than extending the tax credits, which Democrats say help 22 million Americans afford coverage. Thune argued the GOP measure lowers premiums and benefits patients directly, while Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer criticized it as, quote, junk insurance. Both the Republican and Democratic bills are expected to fall short of the 60 votes needed to advance, though Democrats hope that their proposal pressures Republicans politically, CBS News has reported. Several other GOP plans have been proposed, some combining limited extensions of tax credits with HSA-style funding, but no consensus has yet emerged. President Donald Trump criticized Europe, calling the continent weak and decaying due to immigration and urged countries to deport those who entered illegally. He specifically attacked London's Mayor Sadiq Khan, claiming he was elected by immigrants and promoting a harmful ideology. President Trump's remarks follow his administration's national security strategy, warning of civilizational erasure in Europe and suggesting resistance to current European policies. He also commented on Sweden and Paris, labeling them unsafe despite crime rates lower than many U.S. cities, Al Jazeera has reported. President Trump indicated he might support European right-wing politicians, though he emphasized his focus remains on governing the United States. Okay, it's about 15 past the hour. Here's a look at the live weather radar from the National Weather Service. It's raining where I'm at. I hope everybody stays warm and okay today. Let's go into the National Weather Forecast for today. A strong clipper system is moving from the upper Midwest into the interior Northeast, bringing snow and strong winds. Blizzard warnings are in effect for parts of the central Appalachians, where wind gusts near 50 miles per hour will accompany several inches of snow. Heavy snowfall is also expected in Tug Hill and the Adirondack, while another winter system may bring freezing rain and snow later this week. Meanwhile, an atmospheric river continues to bring heavy rain to the Pacific Northwest and the Northern Rockies, raising flooding concerns as snow levels remain high. Temperatures will stay colder than average in the central and the eastern parts of the United States, while the west remains warmer than normal. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said he is ready to hold elections within 60 to 90 days if Ukraine's parliament and foreign partners can ensure security, responding to U.S. President Donald Trump's criticism that he is clinging on to power. Zelensky emphasized that the decision belongs to Ukrainians, not foreign leaders, and highlighted logistical and legal challenges under wartime conditions and martial law. Opposition politicians warned that holding elections now could harm the country and aid Russia. Zelensky also indicated Kyiv is seeking a high-level U.S. meeting on a peace deal and is open to an energy ceasefire if Russia agrees, The Guardian has reported. His comments follow Donald Trump Jr.'s claim that Zelensky is prolonging the war to stay in power and U.S. pressure for Ukraine to consider territorial concessions. Japan issued a megaquake advisory after a magnitude 7.5 earthquake struck northern Honshu, causing 34 mostly minor injuries and some structural damage. Officials warned that a subsequent magnitude 8 or larger earthquake could occur within a week, potentially triggering a tsunami up to 98 feet and killing nearly 200,000 people. The advisory aims to prompt residents, especially along the coast, to prepare emergency supplies and evacuation plans, though the probability of a larger earthquake is only about 1%. The earthquake struck near Japan and the same fault zone that was responsible for the deadly 2011 magnitude and the 9.0 earthquake and tsunami that devastated northern Japan and damaged the Fukushima nuclear power plant, CBS News has reported. Now, authorities hope that the warning will raise awareness without causing any panic, the type of panic that was seen during a 2024 megaquake advisory for southern Japan. The Justice Department said Tuesday it intends to continue pursuing the prosecution of former FBI Director James Comey. The statement came in court filings responding to a lawsuit by Comey's friend and former lawyer Dan Rickman, who seeks to block the government from using his property as evidence. The move follows the dismissal of Comey's previous indictment and a judge's temporary restrictions on the DOJ's use of certain evidence in grand jury proceedings. The department described the case as both a pending criminal investigation and a potential federal criminal prosecution, CNN has reported. DOJ argued that Rickman's lawsuit is an attempt to interfere with its ability to investigate and prosecute James Comey. In a political interview, President Donald Trump said that Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro's days are numbered, but declined to comment on whether the U.S. might send troops to the country. He defended strikes on alleged Venezuelan drug vessels, suggested similar actions could target Mexico and Colombia, and criticized European leaders as weak and decaying due to immigration policies. President Trump also claimed Russia holds the upper hand in Ukraine's war, praised Ukrainian bravery, and renewed attacks on Somali immigrants and Representative Ilhan Omar. He rated the U.S. economy a, quote, A++++++, despite polls showing voter dissatisfaction with inflation and economic issues, NBC News has reported. President Trump indicated that an immediate Federal Reserve rate cut would be a key factor in choosing the next Fed chair, though he did not reveal any candidate's name. Lithuania has declared an emergency situation in response to an influx of weather balloons launched from Belarus, which are suspected to be used by Belarusian security services and previously smuggled cigarettes. The measure allows the military to assist police and border guards, while prosecutors and secret services investigate the Belarusian state's involvement. The balloons have forced repeated airport closures, affecting over 350 flights and 51,000 passengers since October. Lithuania views the flights as part of a broader hybrid of war linked to Russia and Belarus, amid tensions in Eastern Europe, Al Jazeera has reported. Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko dismissed the declaration, saying Lithuania is exaggerating the situation and claiming he does not seek any conflict with the country. Grammy-nominated musician Roderick McLeod, 70 years old, was killed while walking his dogs in Rhode Island after being struck by a driver with a lengthy criminal and traffic history. McLeod, a former member of Roomful of Blues and a 2014 Rhode Island Music Hall of Fame inductee, was hit when the 41-year-old driver, Shannon Godbout, allegedly left her lane and struck multiple objects, including telephone poles. McLeod was taken to Rhode Island Hospital, where he later died. His dog did survive the crash. Godbout was arrested at the scene and faces charges including driving to endanger, resulting in death, and possession of narcotics with the intent to distribute, CBS News has reported. Police noted that she has over 100 prior arrests, dozens of traffic citations, and 82 court warrants, and additional charges are possible as the investigation continues. U.S. stocks were mostly steady on Tuesday as investors awaited Wednesday's Federal Reserve decision on interest rates. The S&P 500 slipped 0.1% near its October high, the Dow fell 179 points, and the Nasdaq gained 0.1%. J.P. Morgan Chase fell 4.7% after projecting higher expenses next year, while Toll Brothers dropped 2.4% on weaker-than-expected quarterly results amid soft housing demand. Treasury yields rose after a report showed U.S. job openings at 7.7 million, fueling speculation the Fed may limit future rate cuts, the AP has reported. Elsewhere, ExxonMobil, Ars Management, and CVS Health climbed on strong forecast, while Nvidia and Home Depot edged lower. Global markets were mixed, with Hong Kong and Paris both down. A classical musician, Jubliant Sykes, 71 years old, was fatally stabbed in his Santa Monica home on Monday evening in what police are calling an isolated domestic incident involving his son. Sykes, known for his Grammy-nominated 2009 performance as the celebrant in Leonard Bernstein's Mass, was found with critical injuries and pronounced dead at the scene. His 31-year-old son, Micah Sykes, was taken into custody without incident and booked on suspicion of homicide, with bail set at $2 million. Authorities noted there is no ongoing threat to the community, while court records show Micah had a history of erratic and threatening behavior, including a 2017 restraining order, Rolling Stone magazine has reported. Sykes was widely celebrated in the classical musical world, with Gramophone magazine praising him as, quote, the best of all possible celebrants. Gold prices rose 0.4% on Tuesday ahead of the U.S. Federal Reserve's interest rate decision, while silver surged past $60 per ounce for the first time ever. The rally in silver was driven by strong industrial demand, low global supplies, and its recent designation as a U.S. critical mineral. Traders are anticipating a 25 basis point Fed rate cut, though strong October job openings slightly reduced expectations for easing. Analysts say gold and silver could continue climbing, with silver potentially surpassing $70 an ounce and gold approaching $5,000 an ounce next year, CNBC has reported. Platinum also saw gains, rising 2.8%. SpaceX successfully launched a classified U.S. military payload, NROL-77, from Cape Canaveral on December the 9th. The mission for the National Reconnaissance Office carries a national security satellite, though specific details about the payload still remain secret. The mission patch features a flying squirrel and the motto, "Another one gone, today, tomorrow, and beyond," symbolizing endurance and knowledge gathering in space. This was SpaceX's third NRO launch of 2025 and the seventh Falcon 9 flight carrying an NROL payload this year, Space.com has reported. The Falcon 9 first stage successfully landed back at Cape Canaveral, marking the fourth flight for this booster, while the timing and the location of the payload deployment still remain undisclosed. Today is December the 10th, 2025, and on this day in history, in the year 1901, the first Nobel Prizes were awarded in Stockholm, Sweden. In the year 1948, the United Nations General Assembly adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, and in the year 1964, Martin Luther King Jr. was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. December the 10th is also National Human Rights Day. Alright, it's 26 past the hour. Let's do a quick market update. The Nasdaq is down 0.26% right now. Gold is down 0.15%. Oil is down 0.17%, now 0.16%. Bitcoin is down 0.36%. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 0.44%. The S&P 500 is also up at 0.8%. And the NASDAQ is down at 0.20%. It just changed. And that is a quick market update for today. While you're here, excuse me, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I got you here. That way you can stay up to date on all of our live shows and our individual news stories. And now let's roll into the last block of news I have for you guys for today. Astronomers have observed ultra-fast winds from a black hole in the spiral galaxy NGC 3783, traveling at 60,000 kilometers a second, or about 20% the speed of light. The black hole, with a mass of 30 million suns, powers an active galactic nucleus that emits intense radiation and drives these powerful winds. Researchers found that bursts of X-ray light from the black hole trigger the winds within a single day, caused by sudden untwisting of the nucleus's magnetic field. The phenomenon is linked to coronal mass ejections from the sun, suggesting similar physical processes may operate on vastly different cosmic scales, CBS News has reported. Studying these winds helps scientists understand the role of active galactic nuclei in shaping the evolution of galaxies. Astronomers have observed the most distant supernova ever seen, dating back 13 billion years, just 730 million years after the Big Bang, using the James Webb Space Telescope. The explosion, accompanied by a gamma-ray burst, marks the death of a massive star and possibly the birth of a stellar mass black hole. Initial detection came from the SVOM satellite and NASA's Swift Observatory, followed by optical confirmation from ground-based telescopes, with the James Webb Space Telescope later capturing the supernova's light and its host galaxy. Despite its extreme distance, the supernova spectrum closely resembles that of modern-day massive star explosions, though differences are expected due to the early universe's low abundance of heavy elements, Space.com has reported. This discovery not only sets a new distance record, but also demonstrates the James Webb Space Telescope's ability to study individual stars and galaxies when the universe was only 5% of its current age. In-N-Out Burger has officially retired the number 67 from its ticket order system, following the viral 6-7 trend among Gen Alpha social media users. The removal, confirmed by a Los Angeles employee, also extends to the number 69, and is reportedly due to the commotion caused by kids reacting to the numbers being called. The 6-7 phrase, popularized in Skrilla's song Doot Doot 6-7 and associated with NBA player LaMelo Ball's height, was even named Dictionary.com's 2025 Word of the Year, defined as a playful, nonsensical slang term. Reddit users first noticed the skipped number, sparking discussions about its cultural significance, often interpreted as so-so or maybe this, maybe that, when paired with a hand gesture, People magazine has reported. Other chains, including Wendy's and Pizza Hut, have also embraced the trend, offering 67-cent promotions. Democrat Eileen Higgins won a stunning upset Tuesday night to become Miami's first Democratic mayor in 30 years, reversing recent Republican success in the state of Florida. Higgins, who's 61 years old, a former county commissioner, focused her campaign on immigration and positioned the race as a referendum on President Donald Trump's policies, resonating with Miami's 57% foreign-born population. She defeated the Republican, despite heavy endorsements for him from President Trump and other GOP figures. Higgins will also be the city's first female mayor and first non-Hispanic leader since the 1990s, reflecting growing Democratic momentum in local elections nationwide, The Guardian has reported. A Tucson, Arizona man, Leo Reynoso, 46 years old, has been federally charged for allegedly excavating and selling artifacts from the Gila River Indian community without authorization. Prosecutors say he removed items such as jewelry, tokens, buttons, and crucifixes from tribal archaeological sites and sold some without a permit. The artifacts' archaeological value and the cost to repair the damaged sites are each estimated at $29,000. Reynoso was indicted under the Archaeological Resources Protection Act, NBC 12 News has reported. If he's convicted, he could face up to 2 years in prison and a $20,000 fine. Okay, everybody, that is our show for today. I hope all of you guys have enjoyed it. I will see everybody tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time for another episode of The News with BC, and I hope everybody has a great rest of your afternoon.